Hello, everyone. Today I'll be presenting my paper for the ACL finding named SenticVec towards robust and human-centric neurosymbolic sentiment analysis. My name is Xulang Zhang, and my co-authors are Rui Mao and Eric Cambria. Here is the outline of today's presentation. For the background, deep neural architectures are widely used for sentiment analysis, and the need for deep neural networks is usually due to the complexity of modeling language. For example, syntax and semantics will exhibit different patterns in different contexts. The trend in the research community is to make the model deeper and larger to learn these complex language patterns. However, randomly initialized neural networks suffer from knowledge forgetting. So to resolve this challenge, large-scale pre-training is employed to help with their ability for generalizing and transferring knowledge. However, prominent LLMs consist of a large number of parameters that need to be trained with a huge amount of data. And that requires a lot of computing resources, not just during pre-training, but also during fine-tuning and inference. So that leads to environmental concerns about carbon emission. So in the field of sentiment analysis, a neurosymbolic approach can be used to alleviate this problem by using sentiment knowledge bases as semantic feature enhancement. In this way, we can store parts of the knowledge needed for the sentiment analysis in the knowledge base instead of the model. So we can reduce the reliance on pre-training and scaling. However, existing knowledge base assigns a singular sentiment score to a word or word sense. But humans naturally have differing perceptions to subjective contents. Prior research have shown that disagreement and uncertainty is inherent among dataset annotators. And a singular score knowledge representation erases these differences that are actually quite important to the human experience. Additionally, sentiment tendencies and intensity of a word might be different depending on the domain, but existing sentiment knowledge bases are not domain specific, making them less adaptable in cross-domain setting. Therefore, we propose a sentiment-pragmatic knowledge base called SenticVec, where each representation is in vector form, and each element in the vector is a sentiment score that is pre-trained from a public sentiment analysis dataset. The intuition is that different annotators, annotation task instructions, and text domains can result in different annotation outcomes. So a multidimensional representation can account for these subjective variations. This formulation is also flexible because we can keep augmenting the symbolic representation with new dimensions using new corpora without changing the existing elements. The main contributions of our paper are as shown here. In this section, I'll first introduce the methodology of developing the knowledge base. So to construct our SenticVec knowledge base, we first compute the sentiment score of a word for a corpus. Given a sentiment analysis corpus, we construct a sentiment classifier with the explainable attention mechanism Han, as shown in the figure here. And we train it on the given corpus. After sufficient training, we compute the sentiment score using the training set of the corpus. Given an input instance, the sentiment score of a word is computed as shown in the formula here. And after we traverse the training set, we average all the sentiment scores of the word for however many times it appears in the training set to get its sentiment score of in the corpus. Then we collect 19 sentiment corpora from different domains, and we train a classifier for each of them to get sentiment scores. We can then compile a 19-dimensional vector for each word. And if a word does not appear in a particular corpus, we use NA value as a placeholder. And after we've constructed the lexicon, we fill in the NA value using the average difference of anchor token. The example on the right is a simplified demonstration of this process. We then repeat this process to get the parse speech text entries. The figure shows the example of what the knowledge base looks like. And then to support multilingual setting, we use machine translation to expand the knowledge base to Spanish, French, and Italian. And in this part, I'll introduce how our lightweight model works. So as shown in the figure here, we convert the original input sentence into a parse speech label sequence for embedding, and we concatenate it with the sentiment-pragmatic representation from our SenticVec knowledge base. And this concatenation is used as input to a simple 3-layer MLP model. And because the vocabulary size is just the number of parse speech tags, so the model is very small and converge quite fast. For the experiment, we want to compare our model with word embedding-based MLP baselines as well as LLM baselines to show its competence. For brevity, we refer to our lightweight model as SenticVec. And as you can see from the table on the left, the SenticVec model is very lightweight, even when compared to other MLP baselines. Additionally, we also want to test if our SenticVec knowledge base can serve as effective feature enhancements for PLMs and LLMs. So we include Roberta plus SenticVec and XLM Roberta plus SenticVec. And to test our model's robustness in different domains and languages, we use dataset from Twitter, Review, and Financial Microbox, as well as Future's dataset in English, French, Spanish, and Italian. The table here shows the supervised learning and cross-domain learning results. For supervised learning, the gray part, we can observe that SenticVec models achieves comparable or better performance as Roberta. And Roberta plus SenticVec is able to improve upon Roberta. For cross-domain learning, we can conclude that with sufficient training samples that contain rich parse speech pattern, the SenticVec model has the potential to exist PLM. And the SenticVec knowledge base consistently improved the performance of Roberta. Multilingual dataset, we can see that SenticVec model achieves the highest average performance and minimal performance disparity across 4 languages. And XLM Roberta plus SenticVec also improves upon the XLM Roberta consistently. We also conduct cross-lingual experiments by training on the English dataset and testing on the other languages. We can see that SenticVec exceeds baseline on average, and XLM Roberta plus SenticVec outperforms the baseline on all languages. Next, we conduct a ablation study to validate the multidimensionality of the SenticVec knowledge base. So as you can see from the results, it shows that the integration of new knowledge through more label dataset can indeed improve model performance on sentiment analysis in various learning settings. We also visualize the convergence speed of the model on the Twitter dataset. And from the figure, we can see that SenticVec achieves faster convergence compared to all baselines. And Roberta plus SenticVec converges faster than Roberta. So this suggests that the sentiment representation derived from the SenticVec knowledge base can speed up the convergence process in both shallow and deep neural networks. So to conclude, this paper proposes a sentiment-pragmatic knowledge base called SenticVec. And based on this knowledge base, we further propose a novel neurosymbolic model that is lightweight, robust, and fast convergent. Thank you for listening to my presentation.